This story is about a campaign of D&D that I played in a while ago. The cast is not that important. However, it is noteworthy that there are a lot of players, exceeding the ideal number of 4 to 5, and I'm actually friends with only one of them. There was a bunch of issues from day one, which I am only summarizing briefly here. The DM refused to improvise and prefers to play out scenes in order with the outcomes he has prepared. The majority of the players were happy to comply and basically do everything to make things happen the way they believed the DM wanted them to, and wouldn't tolerate their party members to deviate. As a note, the scene that inspired me to write a horror story took place last year in a larger city. Our party was brought before the mayor because we were accused of a minor crime, and the party was basically blackmailed into doing the mayor's dirty work. My character, however, didn't quite fancy being used like that, and my friend and I made quite the scene, demanding equipment for our troubles. Long story short, he had to reluctantly agree to give us what we needed. The next morning, we were greeted by an escort of guards to be led to the blacksmiths. We as players of course knew that there was something up, but personally I couldn't foresee what exactly was going to happen, and I believe in playing dumber than I am to make things happen. I wasn't really surprised, however, that our trip did not end at the blacksmiths, but in the courtroom of the correctional facility where a whole squad of guards, a couple wizards, and the mayor himself waited for us, ready for a trial. DM forbade us to say anything until the trial was over. To be fair, it only lasted 2 sentences, one of which was arrest them. DM asked us, what do we do? Friend and I quickly confer out of character, and we decide to give the DM a fight. Not only because it was logical for our characters, but also because we had been railroaded for weeks at this point, ignored and constantly outvoted by our fellow players, and at this point I felt like grinding gears would be the most fun I could get out of this game. DM did not expect that, sounded quite grumpy as we rolled initiative. What now followed was the weirdest group dynamic I have ever encountered in a role-playing game. The other players cheered the DM on. Yeah! Give them what for! The players were out of character, excited to watch their DM punishing 2 members of their group for an attempt to do something not scripted. However, our characters fought remarkably well against the overwhelming forces, and I even almost escaped breaching the doors of the courtroom. The DM, however, had 3 aces up his sleeve, namely the wizards. Each one of them could cast a number of charming spells. I managed to roll high enough to shrug off the first one, but the second one got me, and so my character turned away from the doors and walked towards imprisonment, his brother-in-arms already having succumbed to the charm. I wasn't mad that our outbursts led to consequences. It's understandable that the leader of the local community would find some way of retribution, but the way the DM managed the situation was just so upsetting to me because it took away any kind of player initiative where there had been little before. There would have been a multitude of possibilities to handle the situation to punish the characters and not the players. I know that sometimes a campaign tries to tell a certain story, but that in combination with the general reluctance to improvise on the side of the DM and a party that cares little for character interaction or anything that does not directly lead to the next plot point leads to a huge frustration that needed to be vented in some fashion. So I'm torn. On one side, standing up to a railroading DM sounds like a valiant effort. On the other hand, one could see this as being a that guy moment if you were in that party. I don't know who these people are, but if they want to be railroaded, then that's fine by them. And things could be handled out of character with a simple, I don't like railroading, so I'm out, instead of disrupting the game. But again, it's a gray area. What do you all think about this situation?